Good afternoon, brothers and sisters in Christ. This is brother Jude. I'm just here. I just have something on my mind that the Spirit placed on me to share with you guys. Uh, and it's pretty much when it comes to trying to trying to bring others to Christ. Especially unbelievers, things like that. A lot of times I see we see. Uh, Please forgive me for this, y'all. Like I'm really not a good speaker, talker, whatever you want to say. I'm like, I don't know, the law working with me on that. I like to do a lot of writing. Writing is my craft. Um, so how I want to say this. So it's like when sharing a word with unbelievers, there's different groups of unbelievers that I want to see. There are unbelievers who are unbelievers who's there because they just don't know or understand or never heard or just never heard of the about Jesus Christ, never heard the gospel before, just never fully understood it, and just so been wrapped up in the world, and so they just latched on to what sound good to them, with doctrines that just made sense to them, and so they just latched on to those doctrines. Then there's unbelievers who have been presented with the word and straight out rejected. They've been presented with Jesus Christ, and they reject him. So we have to be able to discern the difference between the two, because a lot of times, and including myself, you know, um, we end up in conversations with people whose hard intentions or motives, I should say, is not sincere, who's only there to try to sow discord and confusion and just try to get you out of the spirit, you know, altogether, and just try to get you into some argument, debate, and all these other smoke screens or whatever you want to call it, to try to get you to be moved and try to move you away from your faith and things like that. So I just want to touch on this particular subject. So we have to see, it's a different way of communication between the different two unbelievers. The ones who just reject Jesus Christ and the ones who just don't know. And so there's a way of communication between the both. The ones who reject Christ, speak truth, mostly ask questions like, Jesus did with the Pharisees to get them to reflect within themselves, their own heart, and kind of like end it off, the conversation, and just leave it there and just, move on and just, dust your feet off, and just go your way. And the other ones, you speak to them. But see, before I get to them, even with the ones who don't believe in, who reject Jesus Christ, the way you deal with them, though, like even with when you speak to them, and the way Jesus spoke to the Pharisees, asking the questions to get them to self-reflect within their own hearts, their own conscience, you know, uh, do just make sure you do all things in love, just like Jesus Christ did. It's not The whole intent is not to cut them. You know how they say cutting with the scriptures and all that. It's not about none of that. All you're doing is out of love. You're helping them by bringing their focus within themselves to reflect on their own motives, even if they in their own heart they choose, like, you know what, they don't want to change or whatever the case may be. But you do this, out of love and because you want them to change, and so you want to keep their focus directed to where things truly matter, which is in the heart. Love and mercy, forgiveness, and help them to see where they're going wrong, so that they will feel that shame, so that shame, if they're sincere, will cause them to change. And not only so them, but others who's watching and looking at the conversation that's taking place, they're also being edified. When they're reading these things, their conscience um, is being pricked as well. They're reflecting as well. And then if that person is sincere, like, oh, that do make sense, maybe I do need to go put my faith in Jesus Christ. I need to check this. I need to go read. I need to go find out who Jesus Christ is. So that's very important. And so we do all things in love, with love, kindness, and mercy. And with a forgiving heart. Just like Jesus Christ did. Now, concerning the unbelievers who just unbelievers out of ignorance, meaning that they just don't know, like they just went with the things that they've just been taught, what they've been told, what sound like uh pleasing to their ears, what sound like it made sense to them, right? So we talk to them in a way, like your conversation is pretty much different. Like you asking them questions, like trying to see whether you like. So why don't you believe? Just getting a conversation with them, asking questions, seeing where they at. And that's more of a sincere dialogue that you're having with that person, and so you can kind of see where they're at. And engage based on the answer that they give to the questions you ask them. Um. So you ask them questions like, so why don't you believe what happened? And just listen to them, see what they see, and whatever the answer is, you kind of you respond with questions, relating to their responses that kind of like help them to like like kind of like point them to um seeing that how God does exist, with certain evidence, that you present to them in the conversation. you know like asking questions like self-reflection questions, that really help them to really think and reflect, you know what I'm saying, like to help them come to that conclusion, like, man, that does make sense. uh I've been believing in this all this time, but I see that from what he's saying or what she's telling me, I see where this was a shaky foundation. I see the holes in this doctrine that I've been holding firm to all this time. That this belief that I've been believing in for so long. I'm starting to see the holes now in these doctrines. And see, it's not that you're trying to poke holes in those doctrines. This happens um without you even trying to do that when you speak the truth that is in Jesus Christ. You see, one thing is this: the truth is like a flood. You know that when it knock up against the wall of lies, there's a crack. That wall starts to crack. You see, and that water starts seeping in. You see, so whenever someone's holding firmly to like from like when they're holding firmly to falsehoods and lies, you don't have to try to dismantle those things. You don't gotta try to do that. All you gotta do is bring the truth. The truth gonna do that automatically. And that truth is Jesus Christ. Just speak the truth about speak the truth that is in Jesus Christ. And they're gonna start to see the dismantling taking place. Now, when this happens, dude, you're gonna come into situations where people gonna want to fight to hold up their beliefs, because a lot of people are not comfortable when their world view and beliefs starts to get shaken. You see what I'm saying? Like by another doctrine or belief. And because a lot of times a person their whole identity, who they are is wrapped up in their worldview and beliefs. And so when you come with some other doctrine and it starts to shake all that up and start to dismantle and break all that down, then they feel naked. They're like, well, who am I now? Where do I go? Where's my place of refuge if I no longer have these things that I once held tightly to, these things that I cling to so dearly, If they don't have these things no more, they feel like, well, where I'm going to go now? And when you bring them the truth that is in Jesus Christ, and it's just too strong for them, they get offended in that, then they feel like, okay, well, he brought me this doctrine, she brought me this doctrine, I don't want to go with that doctrine, but now I can't go back to the doctrine I believed in before because the doctrine that he or she brought dismantled it all apart. And so a lot of times when they start to see that happen, they're going to start to fight with you to try to keep they end held up, to keep their doctrines and their beliefs, keep that wall held up, keep that city, that wall up to protect that city, So just keep in mind, and then there's other people that's, when you come to them, they're going to, when it start to, when their beliefs start to be dismantled like that, and then they start to see what you're saying when you bring the truth about Jesus Christ, and they're going to start to believe, and they say, they're going to want to go search him out. And then they too, eventually, they're going to put their faith in him, once they learn about him and read the word. So, I mean, that's just all I wanted to say for right now. I know it was a rant pretty much, but, it happens like that sometimes. When the Spirit puts something on my mind, I just got to just let it out and speak it, What this title is gonna be for this video, I still gotta, figure that out. I don't know, but Lord willing, He'll help me. But I just want to say God bless each and every one of y'all who are here. To my brothers and sisters in the faith, hold on to that faith that is in Jesus Christ. Never let it go. Never let Jesus Christ go. And to all those who are unbelievers, I encourage you to go seek Him out and go and read the Word. And God bless you too.